not part of the admin group just yet. And we will just wait until the game loads in. Hopefully we'll get to see a good game here. We'll try and analyze the draft as best we can, and hopefully no lag or any connection issues occur, and we'll see basically what happens throughout the game. Sandsalt coming in from it as previous, not really victors, but they've definitely been up in the high ranks of the last previous ODL tournaments. WeHateJun, definitely not a team to be scoffed at. They can probably pull out a couple of wins here and there. We'll see what they pick and what they draft. Currently what's floating around in the meta is a global strat. Hopefully we'll see what goes on there. Okay,
Radiant's
so I'm just gonna turn on
ban.
my voice here and there. So we've got Radiant as the first pick. We've got the Enchantress ban. Enchantress has been seeing a lot of popularity here because of the new Dragoon Lance and the impetus damage. Basically giving her this massive damage boost. And then Nature's Prophet is a standard ban coming out.
Radiant's ban.
Enchantress is a jungler. Nature's Prophet is a bit of a jungler, but he is more likely a global. He is a global killing machine.
Ban.
He can TP in and pretty much wipe out one hero from the map, with the help of, you know, some other themes. And Invoker ban, very standard. Invoker's very high in the meta right now. He's basically one of the most banned heroes there, as well as OD.
Radiant's
so
pick.
Invoker is essentially there because he can whip out so much damage so quickly that he becomes such a crucial part of your team. And if you have an Invoker player on your team, which Sandsalt does, then it's quite a solid ban. The OD ban coming up just basically because they don't want to have to face an Outworld Devourer, who is, in my opinion, one of the stronger right-click carries in the meta at the moment. Just because every right-click that he does
10 seconds
gives him
to
more
go.
damage and steals your intelligence. So he basically can
5 seconds.
narrow out casters, and he can also boost his damage to right-click.
Lion.
So we've got a Lion pick coming up here.
Dire's
support,
pick.
basically. Lion's a really strong support because he's got dual disables and he has an ultimate which is essentially like a giant nuke. You just press R on a hero and that hero hopefully disappears. He's really handy to have in lane because he can stun and, you know, zone them out as well as being ranged. He unfortunately isn't the tankiest support, but when he is in lane, it's not really his tankiness that you've got to worry about. It's the stuns and the mana drain and the hex that you've got to worry about. So Lion just coming out as a solid
10
support
seconds
here.
to go.
You can pretty much lane just about anywhere. Most teams will probably
5
put him
seconds.
as the 4 or 5 support, which will be one of the supports that gets most of the wards, or possibly gets
Reserve
uppicked.
time.
And so we'll just see what Sandsalt plus Bambi have to show against us. It's not really a very definitive pick. It's just a pick that kind of just says, you know, we're going for a good support in lane. There's nothing really to banning it, so it's quite a good pick in the first one. So we'll just have to wait, unfortunately, until they decide to pick.
Silencer.
And we have a Silencer, a
Dire's
very
pick.
strong hero. He's got global presence with his ultimate, which can silence and prevent anyone from casting, and then he's got the ability to Arcane Curse, which means that it forces you not to cast a spell or face the consequences, as well as his third spell, which is also similar, which silences and disarms, no longer disarms, slows the hero. He's got his W, which gives him some nice right-click damage, and since the ban of the OD, he can't really be contested in the mid, except for maybe a few heroes
10
like
seconds
Venom
to go.
Monster or some niche picks here and there, but Silencer is just an all-round standard pick. Not
5
a specific
seconds.
counter pick, but sort of a pick to say, you know, bring it on in the team fight if you want. We're ready for you. Now he can be run as a
Reserve
support in
time.
lane, and if he is run as a support in lane, he'll be quite strong there, probably zoning out the enemy lane. I'd personally like to see Silencer and Lion go up as the supports in lane. Oof. Okay, Bounty Hunter.
Radiant's
So,
pick.
Bounty Hunter is essentially one of the most annoying heroes to play against. He's quite a sneaky hero. He's got invisibility and he'll just come up to you and he'll pretty much just right-click you a couple times and leave you alone. And after that,
Night Stalker.
he'll pretty much, you know, help us
Radiant's
mid
ban.
win lane, usually going with mid. He's also got track gold, which will help him give him massive advantage. So, Sandsalt kind of leaning towards a bit of a team fight here, maybe pick-offs as well. Night Stalker pick from the boys at WeHateJun. Definitely
10
going to be a
seconds
strong
to
pick.
go.
You've got Lion and Night Stalker. Well, Night Stalker essentially excels at night
5
time, so once
seconds.
it's 4 minutes, Night Stalker's going to try and maybe roam if he can possibly do that. He could be run as a 3 position where
Reserve
he's
time.
just tanky and has the ability to run into places, dive you on a tower, and, you know, potentially kill you. Along with Lion, you've got a couple of stuns, some decent silences and disables, as well as a hero that can potentially carry you through to mid-game. Not so much late game, but definitely through to mid-game. And with the Bounty Hunter and the Silencer, those are basically going to be food for the Night Stalker once he gets a bit of farm under his belt. You know, once he carries Dust, of course. Death Prophet ban. Basically, Death Prophet is just a strong hero currently. She's got a new spell, basically, which allows her to steal your life and gain life back. So she will pretty much be banned out because she is quite just strong in the meta, has amazing push power, and can essentially, once she pops her ultimate, Silencer popping his ult doesn't do anything anymore. I mean, he can't spam Q, and then we've got Sven with the banner, which is just the sort of, you know, they don't want to have him getting a right-click carry. Sven's quite strong, go for a blink, maybe area effect stun with a just strong right-click carry. Banning of the Lone Druid. So, looks like WeHateJun is definitely going for the anti-push. They are definitely banning up pushes. Enchantress push, definitely. Invoker can go for a Zubu.
10 seconds to go.
Death Prophet, you press R and take down towers. And then we've got Lone Druid, with just the bear who smashes towers. Spectre ban coming out from the Sansalt team. Spectre is a good global hero, so it looks like they're really just... They're kind of wanting to dominate the global presence by taking out a Silencer, and, you know, removing a Spectre who, once she presses R, silence does nothing to, and an HS Prophet who, once he's TP'd in, it's a bit late, but, you know, taking out the global presence so that they can't really contest. I really wouldn't be surprised to see something like a Zeus picked up,
10 seconds to go.
Or maybe even an Ancient Apparition, just for that little extra bit of global on the side, so that they can dominate it. Sort of lines up there. Zeus would be in the mid, and an Ancient Apparition would be on in the safe lane support.
Reserve time.
Helping them out, and it also means that when Bounty scouts out, Ancient Apparition will be there, waiting, and Bounty can just whack him down, slow him with an Orb of Venom and Janata, and the Ancient Apparition can last off. So we've got Clockwork, almost guaranteed to be on the offlane. He could be in mid, I'm not sure, but Clockwork's a really good initiator. Basically, he presses R, jumps on a hero, pops a Blade Mail once he's got it, and that hero is almost pretty much going to be dead. He's one of those heroes that goes out in a blaze of glory. So he's going to be quite a strong hero in this one because he can instantly take out the Lion out of the fight, just force Lion, so Lion's disables and everything like that will just be useless. So it's a really good pickup here for them. The Night Stalker, on the other hand, is quite tanky, and so he can possibly take out the Clockwork if he gets more farm. So the Bounty Hunter and Clockwork are basically going to be the ganking bros, where they're just going to run around and hopefully get pickoffs with
Reserve time.
Juggernaut, just a solid pickup all around. Decent right-click hero. He's got a bit of magic immunity in his ultimate. He carries quite well into the late game. He's got a passive crit, so nice bit of damage coming out there. So it looks like WeHateJun are not really revealing their full true colours yet. They've definitely got some form of, you know, we're going to come and fight you, because Juggernaut's quite a good fighter, Lion's a good fighter, Night Stalker's a good fighter.
Templar Assassin.
Oh, Templar Assassin coming out.
Radiant's pick.
Basically what we've got is we want the global presence, we want, you know, to come there. Bounty Hunter's basically going to be a scout, and then Clockwork's going to find it for this. Silencer will be there just as a safety pick, essentially, looks like. And then the Templar Assassin is mid. It looks like they just want to say, you know, we want the mid, we want to win the mid, we want to win the global presence, and we want to win the, you know, team fights with the Bounty Hunter, so we don't engage in incorrect team fights. And then they've also got the Clockwork as sort of a fail-safe where it just goes, oh, okay,
10 seconds to go.
Clockwork, save us. Or Clockwork, you know, start up the fight. So it looks like they're both going for sort of a fighting lineup, maybe a bit more of a pick-off on the side of
Reserve time.
WeHateJun is definitely going for a bit more of a sort of man-mode fighting team, and there's potential for good push here with the Juggernaut ward, but not really distinctly going for push. As far as the Sven ban goes, I think the Juggernaut was definitely a good pick in that aspect. The only pick that now could probably counter the Juggernaut, possibly be a PA, or something like an AM maybe. Something that just sort of sits in lane and farms. Slark would be alright. Problem is Slark has too many disables. Ooh. We've got a nice tie on the pick. So there's your offlane, that's set. So it's looking like Night Stalker's going to go mid more and more. Juggernaut's probably safe lane with a Lion to support, which is going to be a very easy safe lane for Juggernaut. He's pretty much going to have that quite easily. Lion will be able to harass Clockwork, and Juggernaut will probably get farmed. Tidehunter will be in the
10
safe
seconds
lane.
To go.
Now, unfortunately, Silencer doesn't really have the ability to drain mana anymore, but he does have the ability to zone his range, so he should be there. He should be good against a Tidehunter.
Radiance ban.
Now, the Viper ban is just looking like they don't want anyone to counter the Templar Assassin. Viper does counter the Templar Assassin in a few ways. Got a lot of damage over time, so it just removes refraction charges. However, I don't think that's a worthy ban against the Templar Assassin if that is the case.
10 seconds to go.
A better ban may have been to ban another
5
support that they're
seconds.
going to probably pull out, unless Nightstalker is being run as a support. Because you really don't want to face some more disables on top
Reserve
of the line.
time.
Because they themselves don't
Dire
actually have that
pick.
many disables other than the Clockwork Stun and possibly silencers coming out from the silencer. Looks like we've got a PL ban coming from the boys at WeHateJun. Basically just sort of saying, you know, we don't want you to have a PL safe lane to snowball out of control. I don't think they'd run a PL as a safe lane, just personally, against something like a Tidehunter. PL would probably get quite squashed.
10 seconds
He
to
wouldn't
go.
really do too well. Tidehunter just has to anchor smash, and PL does almost no damage to him with Kraken Shell.
5 seconds.
Although once again, Silencer can zone him out of the lane, so we'll see. It's quite a good ban basically.
Reserve
Dealing with the
time.
Lion, PL probably has a massive advantage there, and Juggernaut probably going to go for a Battle Fury, so PL would not do quite too well against that. We'll just see what the safe lane pick is for the boys at Sandsalt Bambi. So if they pick something that's, you know, just goes late and decides to counter the Juggernaut, we'll take our carry versus your carry. They're probably going to have a good chance in both the games, and it'll basically be down to who plays better. Essentially, you know, which mid lane wins, which gets better last hits, kills, you know, things like that, where it's down to skill rather than just down to the draft. I am favouring the WeHateJun draft a little bit more just because they've got the Lion Juggernaut combo going on. And here it is, the Slark. Basically,
Radiant's pick.
yeah, a Slark against the Juggernaut, decent pick there, lots of stat steal. The problem is he's on melee against a Tidehunter, and Nightstalker does have the ability to silence, so if Slark can get the Dark Pact off before, Nightstalker silence is wasted, but
What's
if
with all
not,
the scribbling?
then Slark is essentially not going to be one of the strongest heroes they're going to verse, so we'll see what the next one comes out. So Slark is essentially going to be safe lane, probably with Silencer there to support, Clockwork off lane, Bounty Hunter roaming, or potentially going into the offlane occasionally.
10 seconds to
Get some
go.
experience, and Templar Assassin mid. Now, probably
5 seconds.
Taylor Swift on the Templar Assassin, Arab King probably on the Clockwork, and Gregor on the Slark.
Reserve time.
Not sure where the other ones will be playing, so we'll see where that comes out. But now we have essentially a support, or basically have a support or a potential jungler that WeHateJun can pick up. Now if they pick a jungler, it's because Tidehunter can do one of those weird things where he solos off lane, and then Nightstalker goes mid. And this will basically mean that Nightstalker versus Templar Assassin, it's a pretty good matchup. So we've got Queen of Pain. Yeah, this is one of the bans that I did, what I was suggesting against Viper. Queen of Pain has damage over time, plus she has massive nuke, and she has much more mobility than Templar Assassin. So we've got Queen of Pain mid, Lion and Nightstalker as the supports, Juggernaut as the safe lane, and Tidehunter as the off lane. So we've got a couple of disconnects already, straight off the bat. So the game is basically paused just because of occasional lag from the starting up there. We might get someone else to create the lobby next time, just to ensure that it isn't my creation of the lobby. 60 milliseconds unplayable. So I just got a little bit of banter going on here. Just a couple of, looks like long now. Okay, so I just got a little bit of shit talk basically coming on between the teams here. Whenever they're ready to go, they're ready to go. So we've got Queen of Pain as mid as Salty McSalt, and then we've got the mid lane as the TA for Sandsalt. Let me just change my settings really quickly. Right. So basically we've got a nice sort of setup going here. We've got a nice setup on WeHateJun where they have a decent safe lane, and I'd like to see how that Nightstalker is going to roam. So we've basically got a roamer for each team, and in the sense we've got the TA just roaming mid, waiting to essentially body block or potentially get a rune. We've got Slark and Silencer coming for the top rune, and it appears that WeHateJun are not even moving around there. Bounty Hunter just being a sneaky devil here, he's just waiting essentially. We're going to spot out the Juggernaut coming bottom. And we've got the Clockwork just waiting on the offlane. Not even going to. He's probably going to.
30 seconds to go.
Well, he should anyway. There's no real reason he shouldn't. And it looks like they're just sort of going to secure the top rune for Queen of Pain, most likely. And we might see a little bit of skirmish there. If Slark decides to go in there, there's a good chance he's just going to die. So it looks like the top rune's probably going to go to WeHateJun, whereas the bottom rune's probably going to go to Sansol, who will now be referred to as the Dire and Radiant.